Okay, this is Illumination again on Saturday, 12th of August, 2023. I've had a lot of glitches trying to get done what I felt I needed to do. And I'm just trying to make up right now. The original video that I made, I was really pleased with myself. I might have hinted earlier that the whole thing just vaporized in front of me and I don't know what I did wrong or how. So I'm starting from scratch. I'm going to simplify things. The technology that I was using and trying, it was obviously out of my capabilities right now. So I'm going to have to practice more, and I need more tools, technology, and softwares and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go through a list of things. So the thing I wanted to point out, which is active right now, but it was actually beginning early yesterday. In fact, it never ever stops. It's about these wild convulsions in the solar cycle and the behavior of the sun itself. I'm referencing the YouTube channel Suspicious Observers. I love that fellow. He's a highly capable astronomer, scientist. And I like to use him as a reference point because he talks about planets just like I do. Of course, the sun primarily. And what he was noting, including charts and reports from other really premium scientists that are not owned and operated by the global elites over here in their bizarre agendas. These are what I would call genuine scientists who do empirical tests with empirical evidence. What he was indicating is that the sun is showing classic behavior of going through its solar cycles, the sun cycles. There's different sun cycles. I have an amazing chart that refers to temperatures over 4.5 billion years, and you can see how and why people might be scared right now. The thing is, right now we're looking through a microscopic lens at a very short time frame in terms of the history of the planet. And human beings typically only survive really in the middle regions over here. Right around here at the equator, the populations are very, very dense. The weather is warm to hot all year round. It's daytime 12 hours, nighttime 12 hours, almost all year round. Then you get to the Cancer, Capricorn, whatever they're called. I've forgotten the word for it now. Like the shelter points in between with that are pretty moderate, and then you get at the extreme north and extreme south where you get the cold, very, very long winters, very, very long summers. But anyway, most human beings congregate in the so-called temperate zones at these kind of latitudes, okay, up here in the northern hemisphere where most people live. But it's the same down south, okay, over here. Anyway, what he was getting at is that our little planet Earth, like if this is the size of the sun right now, okay, and it's releasing lots of solar flares and CMEs and gamma radiation and all that stuff, and it's been getting very, very active recently, and it's going to increase in activity over the next 2 or 3 years, then it looks like it's going to crash. And so there's a possibility the increasing heat and temperatures, which is typical just before the big crash on every 11-year or whatever it is, Milankovitch cycle. So what he's pointing out is that, yeah, it's understandable to be scared about the rise in temperatures, but you have to understand the bigger picture, that there's other cycles that are happening on a much, much bigger scale that we can't even detect, even over 2, 3, 5, 10, 20,000 years. The deepest measurements we have and the most accurate go back maybe 3,000 years, which is nothing. So again, here's the sun, okay? That's the sun. And in comparison, the Earth is about, I think, this big. So the sun has a very dominant influence on what happens on this planet. It's the same with all the other planets in our solar system. And he references everything: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And he did this very brief, fast expose of all the weird stuff that's happening on each of these planets. Things that are erupting very, very recently in the last few years, and it looks like to continue over the next few years. And of course, my brain went straight to the sacred geometry between the planets and like the lunar nodes and things like that, which are very extreme right now. I call it the degrees of crisis. And so not only are we seeing crises in terms of human experience, human behavior, extreme aberrations in healthiness with human behavior. In other words, a lot of very sick behavior. I look at the planets. I look at Saturn in Pisces. I look at Neptune in Pisces, covering the whole of the global 12th house of sickness, disease, hidden enemies, hidden diseases. And we've got this energy field over in Virgo. So it's kind of like, well, what do you expect? You've got to reveal it to heal it. So there's a lot of sickness that's becoming very apparent, that is being revealed with the human experience. And some humans are thinking, well, what are we going to do about this? There's political sickness, economic sickness, geologic sickness, whatever kinds of sickness, food, water. Look to Uranus and Taurus, and with Jupiter in Taurus as well. So again, referring back to the hurricanes, the typhoons, the tornadoes, the flooding, the droughts, the fires, the earthquakes, the convulsions on tectonic plates. It's amazing stuff. Just amazing to witness. And so we here on planet Earth, we are not alone, okay? Planet Earth is just convulsing like it does. Normally, we don't see much of these convulsions unless we're actually in the vortex of these convulsions. Fires, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, droughts, floods, whatever it is. The obvious convulsions, I think, are like the tectonic plates over here and in here and so on. But there's all sorts of gyrations on this planet. And it was so comforting. It made me feel like I'm not insane. I do my own, homemade, boutique, whatever you call it, artisanal astrology. And it's all making much more sense to me now ever since I watched the astronomy from these high-powered scientists. It's very comforting, and I wanted to share that with everybody, okay? So, yeah, there's a lot of scary things going on, but again, everything is exactly as it should be, and what would you expect? Actually, let me mention, I'm going to go on to another video now. Thank you very much for watching. Here we go. That's the end here. Bye-bye.